China, 1959. A famine is spreading across the nation. Millions are dying in silence. Factories have no steel. Villages have no grain. But no one dares to speak. No one, except one man. Peng Dehuai, marshal of the People's Liberation Army. A war hero who helped Mao seize power. A man who believed truth could save China. But in Mao's China, truth is treason. Historians like Frank Dikötter and Roderick MacFarquhar agree. Peng Dehuai's fate was sealed the moment he questioned the Great Leap Forward. This is the story of the general who confronted a dictator and paid for it with everything. Peng Dehuai is born in 1898 in a poor Hunan village, the same province as Mao Zedong. Both grow up in hunger. Both grow up fighting the world around them. But only one of them will learn to fear the truth. Peng becomes a soldier before he becomes a revolutionary. By age 20, he is already a battle-hardened fighter. He joins the communist movement not for ideology, but because he believes peasants deserve food, and soldiers deserve dignity. Historian Jonathan Spence describes him as one of the few commanders who combined ferocity on the battlefield with genuine compassion for the ordinary Chinese soldier. In the 1920s and 30s, Peng rises fast. He leads the Red Army in the brutal battles against the nationalists. He commands with discipline, not cruelty. When officers steal grain from peasants, he punishes them. When soldiers abuse civilians, he intervenes. He earns something rare in revolutionary China: loyalty. By the mid-1930s, during the Long March, Peng proves himself again. While Mao gains political power, Peng gains military respect. By 1949, when the communists finally take China, Peng Dehuai is a national hero, one of the pillars of the new regime. Mao trusts him. Mao listens to him. Mao needs him. But history shows that dictators rarely tolerate equals. And in Mao's world, heroes become dangerous the moment they stand too tall. Peng doesn't know it yet. But the man he helped carry to power will one day bury him alive. When war erupts in Korea in 1950, Mao turns to one man he knows will not fail him: Peng Dehuai. China is poor, exhausted, barely recovered from decades of civil war. The People's Liberation Army has almost no modern equipment, but Mao sends them into a conflict against the United States, the most powerful military on earth. According to historian Chen Jian, Mao needed a commander who combined discipline, toughness, and absolute clarity under pressure. Peng was the only choice. Peng does not hesitate. He crosses the Yalu River with hundreds of thousands of Chinese troops, many without winter uniforms, many without proper weapons, all marching into a frozen battlefield. What happens next turns Peng into a legend. He forces the U.S. Eighth Army into retreat. He stabilizes the front. He buys China international respect. Not with speeches, but with blood. In Beijing, Peng is celebrated as a hero. Crowds chant his name. Mao praises him publicly. For a moment, Peng believes the two men are still allies, still bound by the revolution they fought for. But power changes men. And Mao is no longer the guerrilla leader he once was. He is now chairman of a nation. A chairman who cannot tolerate shadows cast near his throne. Peng's victories make him admired. His honesty makes him respected. And his reputation makes Mao uneasy, because every dictator fears the man the army loves. Peng has saved Mao's revolution on the battlefield, but soon he will challenge Mao where it hurts the most, in the truth he refuses to hear. In 1958, Mao launches the Great Leap Forward, a campaign to force China into instant industrial greatness. But in villages across the country, reality turns into nightmare. Communes inflate their harvest numbers. Officials lie to impress Beijing. Grain that doesn't exist is shipped to the state. Famine spreads quietly at first, then uncontrollably. Historian Frank Dikötter estimates that by late 1958, millions are already starving. But no one dares speak. No one contradicts Mao. No one except Peng Dehuai. As defense minister, Peng travels the countryside. He sees peasants boiling tree bark. He sees corpses on the road. He sees fields where crops have withered to dust. And he writes it all down. Peng understands war. He understands suffering. But this famine is different. It is man-made, born not from nature, but from fear of Mao. At first, Peng believes he can still reason with the chairman. They had disagreed before. They had survived hardship together. Surely, telling the truth is not a crime. But in a dictatorship, truth is not a report. It is a threat. By the summer of 1959, Peng prepares a letter, calm, respectful, precise. A letter that will destroy his life. Because Mao is no longer looking for honesty. He is looking for loyalty, absolute, unquestioned, blind. And Peng is about to become the man who says the one thing. No one else dares to say, "Chairman, the people are starving." July 1959. The Chinese leadership gathers in Lushan, a quiet mountain retreat. The purpose: celebrate the success of the Great Leap Forward and rally behind Mao. But Peng comes with something else in his briefcase. Truth. On July 14th, 1959, he hands Mao a private letter. Not an attack, not a denunciation, a plea, calm, measured, patriotic. Historian Roderick MacFarquhar writes that Peng's letter was a respectful warning from a loyal soldier, not a challenge to Mao's authority. But dictators do not read with their eyes. They read with their fears. Mao sees betrayal between every line. Peng writes about famine. Mao sees conspiracy. Peng writes about inflated harvest figures. Mao sees sabotage. Peng suggests adjusting policies. Mao hears the whisper, "You have failed," and that he cannot forgive. For days, Mao says nothing publicly. He smiles. He plays the benevolent chairman. But behind closed doors, he tells his inner circle, "Peng Dehuai wants to overthrow me." Whether he believes it or simply needs an enemy no longer matters. At Lushan, Mao gathers allies, men terrified of contradicting him. He prepares a political execution, not with bullets, not with torture, but with humiliation. Because in Mao's system, the first step to destroying a man is to force the entire party, to watch him fall. Peng's letter was a warning. Mao's response will be death. Slow, deliberate, and irreversible. The Lushan Conference shifts overnight. One day, Peng Dehuai is the respected marshal of China, the man who saved the revolution. The next, he is Mao's enemy. On August 2nd, 1959, Mao springs the trap. He orders the party leaders to gather. Peng enters the room expecting debate. Instead, he walks into a firing squad made of words. Mao speaks first. Calm, cold, deadly. He accuses Peng of attacking the party, undermining the Great Leap, and attempting to form an anti-party clique. No evidence, just Mao's voice. And in a dictatorship, that is enough. Historian Liu Binyan later wrote, "From the moment Mao labeled Peng a traitor, the entire hall knew they had to denounce him. Not one man's opinion. A death sentence delivered by fear. One by one, high-ranking officials stand to condemn Peng. Some hesitate. Mao stares at them until they break. Even men who once served under Peng, generals he protected, officers he promoted, turn against him. They call him ambitious, counter-revolutionary, poisonous snake." Peng sits silently through hours of abuse. He tries, once, to defend himself. Mao slams the table. "Sit down," the chairman snaps. "You are finished." In that moment, the room understands. This is not about policy. This is about Mao's ego. Peng Dehuai is stripped of his titles, removed as defense minister, publicly shamed, privately targeted. But Mao is not done, not yet. Public humiliation is only the beginning. A dictator must do more than punish dissent. He must erase the dissenter from history. And Mao is about to ensure that Peng Dehuai disappears not only from politics, but from life. This is the price for telling Mao the truth. Peng Dehuai leaves Lushan broken, but still alive. Mao intends to fix that. Over the next years, Mao turns Peng into a political ghost. He is removed from government, cut off from the army, stripped of all authority. His name becomes toxic, his presence dangerous. Historian Maurice Meisner writes, "Peng was not simply purged. He was isolated, monitored, and slowly destroyed, in a manner designed to break him without killing him outright." Peng is sent to a remote post in Sichuan, officially to inspect agriculture, in reality, to disappear. He lives in a small, damp house. No staff, no power, no voice. A marshal reduced to a footnote. But even here, the party watches. Every letter he sends is opened. Every visitor screened. Every word can be used against him. In these years, Peng's greatest crime is simple. He refuses to lie. He does not retract his Lushan letter. He does not apologize to Mao. He does not beg for mercy. And dictators hate men who do not kneel. By the mid-1960s, as the Cultural Revolution begins to gather steam, Mao searches for old enemies to feed the new political fire. Peng's name is perfect: a traitor, a capitalist roader, the man who insulted the chairman. Peng can feel the storm approaching. His friends warn him quietly, "Mao has not forgotten you." He answers with the fatal honesty that defines his life. "I spoke the truth. If the truth is a crime, then I accept the consequences." But Mao wants more than consequences. He wants revenge. And in 1966, the Cultural Revolution gives him the perfect weapon: millions of young Red Guards eager to destroy Mao's enemies. Peng Dehuai has survived war, famine, and betrayal, but he will not survive Mao's final purge. The Cultural Revolution explodes across China. Mao unleashes the Red Guards, millions of teenagers armed with ideology and rage, to crush all enemies of the chairman. And Mao already has a name for them, a name he has waited 7 years to deliver: Peng Dehuai. On July 25, 1966, the Red Guards storm Peng's home. They drag the 68-year-old marshal from his bed. They tear off his clothes, beaten, spat on, paraded in front of crowds who once called him a hero. Historian Frank Dikötter describes these sessions as rituals of degradation designed to erase a man's humanity. Peng's interrogation begins immediately, not for information, but for confession. Confess you betrayed Chairman Mao. Confess you sabotaged the revolution. Peng refuses, so they beat him again, and again, and again. His ribs crack. His teeth are knocked loose. He collapses on the floor, a marshal of China, reduced to a battered old man, surrounded by children screaming for his death. But the real punishment is still coming. In early 1967, Peng is transported to a hidden military compound in Beijing. His cell is small, dark, freezing in winter, suffocating in summer. Guards enter only to interrogate or assault him. According to historian Michael Schoenhals, Peng was subjected to continuous torture, sleep deprivation, and starvation across nearly a decade, nearly 10 years. In a cell, alone. His body breaks first, his spirit second, but he never gives Mao the confession he wants. Never. By 1973, Peng can no longer walk. His spine is damaged from beatings. He struggles to breathe. He begs, not for freedom, but for medicine. The guards refuse. They are waiting for him to die. On November 29, 1974, after 8 years of torture, the man who saved Mao's revolution dies in prison custody. Cause of death: untreated bladder cancer and neglect. The regime buries him secretly. No announcement, no ceremony, no honors. A hero erased. Only after Mao dies in 1976 will the truth slowly return. Peng is rehabilitated in 1978, his honor restored, his loyalty acknowledged, but it comes too late. The only man who dared to speak the truth had already paid with his life. In Mao's China, honesty was the ultimate crime, and Peng Dehuai, the general who told the truth, was executed without a bullet.